I've been requested quite often to give a short demo on how to use the CrystalFX for desktop program. So this is just me messing around. I've got no plan and I'm just going to see what happens. Alright, so to start with the obvious, CrystalFX for desktop is to be used with a USB connection. And once connected to the USB, you have to make sure that your Saber is not in sleep mode. So if it's in sleep mode, you can wake it up by pressing the main button and it will wake up. Let's test our connection and see if that's the case right now. If I connect, this should turn green and let me know that I'm now connected. So I could light up the blade and I can light up the blade. So that's okay. What I can do right now is read all the configuration files and fonts that are on the CFX. So I can click over here. It will place the CFX into the mass storage mode, turning it into one big USB stick. And when it's ready, you'll receive this message. You can click OK. And after that, you can reset the Saber by pressing the auxiliary button. Once that's done, you will receive this message and you can click OK to reconnect to the CFX. Now, as we can see, we are now successfully reconnected. And let me shut down the volume on this and save the config. Now, what you just saw and what can happen in this process is that you will lose the connection. There are some reasons that this can happen. You can send too many messages to the CFX at the same time and you will lose the connection. Also, some of these serial commands, like saving a configuration file or saving several configuration files, they just take some time, and if you send any command in the meanwhile, it will drop the connection. So that's just something you have to deal with. But you can easily reconnect, and after reading the CFX, you can now see that we've got the list of sound fonts. On the left side I have 78 sound fonts. I have a list of blade profiles, 19 blade profiles, and I've got, let's see, 28 color profiles. So that's a fairly random SD card, which I'm not familiar with this SD card, it's not mine. So let's just see if we can add some blade profiles, and let's see where we can start. So right now I have this crossguard font. Let's select this and power it on. And it's now a seemingly stable green blade. So that's not how I want a crossguard to look. So this would be a good starting point for me to change this blade profile and color profile and make it a red unstable. Let me take a look in the blade profiles library. I happen to have several Kylo blade profiles, blade and color profiles in the library that I can easily apply. So I just need to make sure that when I'm applying this to this font, that I don't actually accidentally change anything that I don't want to change. Let's have a look how this font is configured. Most importantly, this font is hard linked to blade profile number 2, and it's hard linked to blade color profile number 2. So let's have a look. Blade profile number 2. What's really useful in the CrystalFX for desktop app is that when you hover over these blade and color profiles, you get the pop-up stating which other sound fonts are actually using that blade or color profile. So taking a look at blade profile number 2, I can immediately see that it's being used by a small number of other sound fonts. But I don't want to change those other sound fonts. I want them to remain the same. So I only want my crossguard sound font to have a unstable red blade. What I can do, because also the linked color profile, oh actually the linked color profile is only being used by this sound font. So I can leave this link as it is. If I change this to red, then I won't change any other sound fonts. Just to give an example, if I change a color profile that is linked to a number of different sound fonts, like this one, it's being used by a huge amount of sound fonts. If I change this color, let me see, it's now set to red, the blade color, and let me change this to green. Then you immediately see I am changing quite the number of sound fonts. So you have to be really careful to see and to figure out which color profile is linked to which sound font, because changing one, you will change all of the linked sound fonts at the same time. The same will apply when you select a blade profile from the library. If I select, for example, if I select the first sound font and I want to apply a blade profile to the sound font, then I can see which color profiles and blade profiles are linked to the current selected color and blade profile. So that's the way the CFX works. You have a list of color profiles, you have a list of blade profiles, and you have a list of sound fonts. Now, each sound font is linked to one blade profile and one color profile, meaning that one color profile can be linked to a lot of sound fonts and one blade profile can be linked to a lot of sound fonts. You have to be careful what you change. If I apply any of these blade style library styles to the CFX, I will apply both the blade profile from the library, but I will also apply the color profile of the library. So I will be changing this blade profile and this color profile. And seeing that this color profile is linked to a lot of fonts, I will have changed a lot of sound fonts at the same time. That's the meaning of these two lists. You can read this. The applied profile will replace the current active blade and color profile. Now, these are all the sound fonts that are linked to the current active blade profile. And these are all the sound fonts that are linked to the current active color profile. So when I apply this style now to the CFX and I save the changes, then you will see that all these sound fonts have been changed to this color profile. Let me select another. If I select this one, I apply the style and I save the changes. If I will reread the CFX right now, you will see that there have been a lot of green colors applied now to all these sound fonts. And I'm done. Press OK to reconnect. Now this was an excellent example to see if you don't watch very carefully and see which color profile and which blade profile you're going to change, then you can accidentally change a lot of sound fonts. So now I did this on purpose. You can do this also another way, and let's find out how you can do this. Because right now I want to change the crossguard sound font. Let's have a look. It's linked to this blade profile. Blade profile is already in use by other sound fonts. So what I can do, I can create up to 32 blade profiles. So there's still room. I can create another blade profile. So let's create one. Number 20 is now a new blade profile, and it's only linked, or it's not linked to anything yet. For the color profile, this color profile isn't in use by anything, so I don't have to create another one. And if I take a look at the sound font right now, I can link this to the new blade profile. Color profile I don't have to change. I can save the changes to the CFX. And now if I will change this, this color profile, actually I can open this and show you the sound fonts. And let's change this green to red, and you will see it's only this one sound font that is being changed. So no other sound fonts are being mangled. Let's make sure. I selected this blade profile, which is not in use. I've selected this color profile, which is also not in use by any other sound font. Now I can go into the blade profiles library. I can select a real Kylo. Select this one. I can apply the style and save the changes. And if I power on, I can see now that I have a red unstable blade, and it's got this Kylo blade, so it's looking good. Now I've updated this one sound font. Let's see if we can do another one. I think I saw a Vader over here. So for this sound font, I want to make this a stable red. So let's see if we can do the same trick again. This sound font is using this blade profile, and it's in use by a lot of different sound fonts, and it's using this color profile, which is also in use by a lot of different sound fonts. Now what I can do, I just want this to be a stable red blade, so I can select a color profile that will match my needs, and in this case I think this color profile will do. Let's see. This color profile will do, number 6. So I can hard link this sound font to color profile number 6. And as a blade profile, let's see if there are any blade profiles that are not in use by anything. So I can see blade profile number 5 is not in use by anything. I can save. So right now this Vader sound font is linked to a blade profile and a color profile that isn't in use by anything else, at least not that I don't want to. And I can set up this blade profile just as I want it and don't make any changes to any other sound font. So let's see. It's now a fire blade. I don't want that. I want this to be a stable blade, and let's see, it can have some small flickering. That's okay. Maybe a little bit of a pulse. It's looking good, and that's just about it. Let's save this. Power on. I really like that white effect at the tip. So usually I select a Quicksilver effect. In this case I think it will be a yellowish color. That's okay. And for the power off, I want the same effect. So that was too quick. Then you lose the connection. Let's reconnect. And test the retraction. I also want the Quicksilver effect. It's okay. Let's save the changes. And now this sound font is also changed exactly like I wanted to. I could do this for the rest of the sound fonts, but then this would be a really long video. I think for now this is enough to give you an example of how you can make changes to the CFX without mangling all of your sound fonts. So, good luck!